Hello and welcome to this episode, and in this episode we want to discuss about this printf statement that you see in here. So this is an output statement, and whatever that we put in here, this text is going to be outputted on the screen. And the printf, you see that once again, as we talked with the main function, it has two parentheses in front of it. The printf also has two parentheses in front of it, and the opening parenthesis and the closing parenthesis, and that is an indicator that printf is also a function. So what is it? It is a function. So as you can see by now, that functions, they do certain tasks in your program. They do something for you in the program. So printf, what is the job of printf statement? Printf statement, whatever argument, so this part is called argument, and whatever argument that you provide to the printf function, it will print it on the screen on the console. So that's the job of this printf statement. Whatever argument that you provide to it, in terms of it could be text, and it even could be other type of data types such as numbers and others. Whatever argument that you provide to it, it will output this argument on the screen on the console window for you. So in C programming language, the text in here is called a string. So what we call the text in here, hello world, is a string. What is it? A string. We usually refer to texts. It could be a word, it could be an alphabet, whatever it could be. We refer to those as string. And strings are always enclosed between double quotes. So you have to make sure that you have your string enclosed inside of this double quote. The opening double quote, then your text, then the closing double quote, and that is mandatory as well for every string in the C programming language. And this printf statement is also related here to this stdio.h header. The fact is that this printf function, by default, the C programming language does not understand this printf function. But we included this header file, which contains the explanation for this printf function, and that's why we included this header file. So this header file will actually tell the program that if we use the printf function in our program, how this printf function should work. So the details of this printf function is included here in this stdio, the standard input output header, and that's why using this preprocessor directive we have included this header in our program so that we can use this printf function. And that's it. Let's go to my computer now, and I will show you how this printf is directly related to this stdio.h header file, and also a few things on the laptop that you will be able to understand better. So here we are on my laptop, and as we said before, that this printf function is directly related to this header file, the standard input output header file. And now if we try to comment out this header file, if we comment it, that means that this line of code is going to be ignored by the compiler, right? Or we can completely remove this line of code. Now if we try to run the program, what is going to happen? So let's go and try to run the program. The program runs successfully, and that is because this IDE, the Dev C++ IDE, is very smart. It actually knows that a printf, that we did not have a declaration of printf function, but it included it automatically by itself. The compiler did that, or the IDE, the Dev C++ did that for us. In fact, if we try to compile this file on our own, we will get some type of error. But in here, we didn't get an error, but instead we got some warnings. And the warnings told us that we should provide a declaration for printf. The declaration means that the details for the printf or include as stdio.h header, and this IDE already knows that this function printf is included in the stdio.h header. But that is because this IDE is smart and it knows enough to include the declaration automatically by itself. In fact, if we try to compile and run this file on our own, we will definitely get an error and the program will not be compilable and it will not run at all, because we haven't told the program how should the printf function behave and how should it work. And by default, as we said before, the C programming language does not understand this printf. Rather, this printf comes from this standard input output header. And that's it for this episode. See you in the coming episodes.